Welcome back to the Waterboyz, episode 13. Again, this is a very special week for us because women's hockey is hosting nationals at UPEI. We covered that on the last episode. But Holland College is hosting their national tournament for the CCAA women's volleyball. Today, joining us, returning guest Sam Gerbig from Charlottetown BEI. And we also have Hayden Nichol, head coach of Hurricanes women's volleyball from Guelph, Ontario. Thanks for coming on the show, folks.
No problem.
Yeah, excited to be here.
For sure. Yeah. So, you guys have had a standout season. Regular season, let's begin with this. Only had one loss, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. How did that feel?
The loss or the wins?
The wins. Let's focus on the wins.
It was really good to go out and get our job done. We were never looking too far ahead of season where it's just game by game. So when we did have that loss, it was humbling. But no, it was a really good season with a really good group.
Yeah. Now, as a coach, how did those wins feel? You get a great record going into the playoffs.
Yeah,
how were you feeling?
Yeah, we were exactly where we wanted to be, right? We wanted to be that number one seed in playoffs to give ourselves home court advantage through conference playoffs and hosting nationals this week as well. Unfortunately, things didn't go our way in that semifinal, but in the regular season, we took care of business and won a few pretty big matches.
So you guys come out first. You're first in the conference. What was the key to success for you guys in the regular season?
For us, with such a small roster, they lost a couple bodies before I took over the job in the beginning of October, and we're running with right now about 9 bodies right now on a volleyball team. Most teams coming to nationals this week will probably carry at least 15, so it makes practice pretty tough, but a little bit of an advantage with that is that I can get pretty individualized with each of the players on the court, and they get very familiar with each other, and we're able to run offensive and defensive systems very easily because we can work with that small group so often every single day with the same people.
Yeah. Do you think part of the reason that the playoff game was harder for you guys was because you might have been worn down by the time that you guys got to that playoff game with such small numbers?
So the week before, we had a road trip to Fredericton and Moncton, and when we came back to the bridge, we had some COVID issues that kept us out for a week of training right before our UKC match on that Sunday before the playoffs started. So I don't think it was a rest. It wasn't that we needed more rest. I think we needed less rest in that point. Taking a week off completely from all activities and working out and video sessions and everything like that, not being able to do anything as a team really, I think, hurt us a little bit. Obviously not using that as an excuse of why we lost. We clearly didn't play our best volleyball that day, and in the playoffs you can't have off days.
Yeah. So you go into playoffs with 3 on your bench.
Right.
So what was the focus for your girls out on the court there going into the playoffs?
It was just putting everything on, like leaving everything on the court, and like constantly in the locker room we're just talking to each other. What can we do to help each other? What can we do to help the team? And we're very like goal focused and team focused in that sense. So it was our main focus was just like how we can support each other and focusing on our side. And although the outcome didn't happen, like we're still very supportive going into nationals, same mindset, like every point by point, game by game.
Yeah. So let's take it to Stu in the playoffs. I understand salt in the wound, but we'll get over it. Time passes, but 5th set against Stu. What's going through your head before that set starts?
I was stressing, but I knew we have had many games in the past where it's come to like a 4th set or a 5th set, and we've always pulled through. So I was hoping like focus point by point every like rally, and like I was hoping we could pull through, but we just couldn't like get a pass up for our setter, and we just made our like job so much harder, and unfortunately that's the outcome we had. But it was definitely stressful. I remember just like standing on the court, and it was like 14-9, and I was like looking across the court, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is about to happen. Like it wasn't until then I was just like, oh shoot, like. And like it's tough because like, this was the second time I've lost to Stu in the semis. I lost in my second year with LB. So it was just like, it was bittersweet for me, for sure.
Now, were you expecting Sioux to come out the way they came out in that semifinal game, or were you guys kind of shocked by the game plan they came out with?
I think what they did on their side, I wouldn't say it was unexpected. They had a really weird quarterfinal against LAC. I happened to be in the gym because our men's team was playing right after, so I got to witness it live and actually and see everything there. They came out with a lot of momentum after beating LAC in 5. A few weeks before, they took some bad losses, had some poor games, and wasn't a team that I don't think anyone else in the league was expecting to kind of come out hot when it mattered. They were kind of trending in the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. Did we underestimate them? No, I don't think so. We said before that match, any team who makes it to this point deserves to be here. Mm-hmm. Once you're in playoffs, nothing's given to you anymore. There's no free wins. You have to earn everything. So I would say because we beat them 3-0 both times during the regular season, maybe we weren't expecting them to give up or to give us as much of a fight as they did. Mm-hmm. But after that first set, I think it kind of woke us up a little bit. Came back in the second set and absolutely dominated. But we can't be a team that has ups and downs. That whole match, we were either playing at a very, very high level or a very, very low level. And you can't do that in playoff matches.
So you made a good point before this. You said everybody's coming into this tournament, except for you guys, on a high.
That's right.
They just won or did very well in their respective conferences. Mm-hmm. So you guys are the only ones with a chip on your shoulder. Mm-hmm. So how's practice been this week, Sam?
Well, the new court just went down yesterday, so that was our first time playing since Friday. But after the loss, I found like practices took a while to gain momentum again. But then I find the last few days it's been very like focused on our game plans and focused on just nationals. Like we have nothing to lose at this point in time and everything to gain. So now I find like practices are more. Like there's less stress on our shoulders. Like there's like especially like this is how I go into every practice. Like I only have like these nationals left. Like this is why I'm gonna leave anything behind. Like I may as well leave everything on the court. Yeah. And a lot of the girls are in the same mindset whether they come back next year or not. It's just like this is it. This is our chance. We gotta play the best volleyball or else that's it. Like we're done.
Yeah. So like you said, Sam, you've been on the show before, and we know that this is your last year. So. We were hoping that it was going to unpause and come back for you. It did. Mm-hmm. So how was the rest of the season for yourself in terms of being your last year? Are you taking every game like we know it's going to be your last after this year, but every game like I want to win because like this is my last year. I'm going out on a win.
Yeah, like whether it's a game or practice, I find like I get so upset with myself when I make a mistake because I'm like, man, I know better. I've been here long enough, and I want to win so bad, and I want to look back on my career and on my season knowing that I gave everything I had to the girls and on the court, and so that's how I'm going into like nationals, and that's how I went into every game the rest of the season. It was just like, this is all I have left. So if I'm gonna like close this chapter on my life, like I want to make sure it like ends on my terms, and like whether we win or lose doesn't matter. Like I want to make sure that I give everything I have left. Yeah. Because this is all I have left. Yeah.
So Hayden, you coach the men's and women's teams at Holland College.
That's right.
How does it feel to have one of your teams, even though it wasn't the traditional round, go to nationals?
Yeah, it's obviously a very exciting experience for me as a coach. This year is my first year being the head coach of any of the teams I've been with. I've coached at some pretty high levels, but I've never been the top guy, the top boss. So obviously when I took over the women's team in October, I knew that this week that we're currently at was the focus. Yes, we had other goals leading up to this, like winning ACAAs and bringing that back. But there's still other things to accomplish this week, and we've been excited for this for almost 2 years now. Some of the girls have been hanging out for these last few years of it wasn't last year. It was supposed to be the beginning of March. Now it's the end of March. It's just been waiting and waiting and waiting. And now that it's finally here, I think everyone's really excited to get going.
We're shaking the soda and we're about to take the cap off. So,
So yeah, Hayden, like your first year as a head coach, you lead the women's team to the best record in the ACAA. Like, how does it feel like to come in as your first year and just prove to like everyone in the league, like, I can coach here at the best level?
I like to say to myself that I don't really have anything to prove to anyone, whether that be the school or the girls or other coaches. At the end of the day, I give the girls everything that I can give them information-wise, but it's up to them to come out and play.
so nothing to prove.
Yeah, nothing to prove, but the girls on the team were extremely motivated. They had goals that they wanted to accomplish, and they weren't ready to just roll over when things didn't go their way. There was moments in matches this year that 99% of teams would have given up. Early in the season, we were in situations against lower ranked teams that we shouldn't have been in. And there was things off the court for them to deal with as well, and they came out of it stronger and more as a full group. And I think that really made some special bonds that made us more successful on the court as well.
I just want to ask you, so as a first year coach, did you honestly expect you to have such a successful season as what you did with the women's team, or were you like expecting like a 500 record going into the playoffs, or what were you expecting?
I think the beautiful thing about Holland College is that the expectation is always to be number one. That's why I took the job with the men's team. I wanted to be at a school that wants to be the best. And with the girls that I knew I knew that the ceiling was pretty high for what these girls could do. Lucky for me, they were bought in as well, just as much as I was. So I wouldn't say I was surprised that we did so well. I knew that we were going to have to work really, really hard to get where we wanted to be. But luckily, we were all on the same page of how hard we wanted to work.
And for you, Sam, like having Hayden as your coach, and for a first year coach, like how much do you think he pulled out of you guys, like as a team?
He's very technical. It's so weird talking about him when he's right next to me. But he's very technical, so there's a lot of, and I've had, like in the last podcast, like I've had a ton of coaches, and he would be my third Holland College coach. But he's very technical, so being able to break down a lot of skills, especially as like skills such as reception are changing with in the sport. So it's really good to be able to, even with a smaller group, being able to break things down per player is so helpful, and it's not something I've ever had before. So it's been very hands-on with our small group, and so I'm like really grateful for that. I found like my passing's the best it's ever been since like Hayden's taken over, and it really helped us like refocus, as when he stepped in October, everything felt like an absolute mess, and then when he took over, everything very quickly went back on track.
So you just said you have nothing to prove, but that also means you have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So going into that, what's the focus to not lose to Humber here in the first matchup?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the matchup with Humber that we ended up getting. Obviously, this is a program I think they've won like 16 or 17 of the last 20 Ontario Women's Volleyball Championships. They are a very storied program, and they have a lot of success on their side. I do think there's a few things that we can try to take advantage of on their side, and I think it's a very favorable matchup. I think we match up well with them compared to some of the other teams in the tournament. A lot of these teams are very familiar to being at the national level. Holland in the last few years is starting to get that reputation as the best team in the East, and we're looking to continue that and start making next steps to be more to be able to contend more at the national level. Instead of just being an ACAA representative, we want to make some noise in these national tournaments, and I think this year is a great year to really get that started.
Yeah. Now, Sam, you have film here in half an hour.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you've seen Humber yet, but if you have, what are you going to do to beat them?
Sticking to the game plan is huge. Like, based on just their like stats of their heights, like they are a big team, and we aren't very tall. We have a couple tall players, but we have to be smart in order to to win. We have to exploit their weaknesses and really focus on that. And if we get too far off the game plan, that's where we're gonna fail. So we have to make sure we like work as a unit and stick to that.
Yeah. So big weekend ahead, and there's a back route to the bronze medal that you guys can take. And obviously the goal is to win it. But what is the true goal here? Obviously play meaningful matches and all that, but what's the focus for you guys?
I think leaving our mark, exactly what Hayden said, and like showing that we can make some noise as a program. We're not like every team looks at us, and like this happened last time we went to nationals. Every team looks at us and underestimates us and sees us as, and we're not like, they don't even see us as underdogs. They just see us as another team before they get to the medals. It'd be nice for our program to be recognized for how hardworking we are, and like for this team to be the foundation to a future of Holland College winning a championship, whether that's this year or next year, but just to be able to make some noise as a school, exactly what Hayden said.
Yeah, and it's a long road to see MSVU, the folks who took the ACAA championship. So it would obviously be nice to get some redemption against them, but who else are you looking forward to play in this tournament here? Who's a team or a player?
I'm actually like kind of want to see like the Manitoba League, just because of this is their first year.
Les Rouges?
I'm very interested to see what comes out of that league, but I'm actually very excited to play Humber. When I played in Ontario, I was on the team that was the first team to beat them like 7 years, and I actually know some of the girls on the team, so it'll actually be like really fun to play them, and I'm very excited to see what we can bring against them.
Oh, so you played Humber at St. Clair against Humber. Wow.
Yeah.
A little personal matchup for yourself.
A little vendetta. V is for Holland College.
Nationals is a big thing here on the island. We got 2 national events this weekend. So what are you guys looking for? I know you guys have had a lot of support this year throughout the community. What are you guys expecting to see come nationals this weekend? Like, are you expecting to see sellout crowds cheering for you guys? Like, what's the expectation for you guys this weekend?
I'm hoping that the crowds are full. Like, they just increased capacity for our gym, and I've been working at the desk at the gym, so I've been watching like ticket sales and stuff for the championship passes. But I was in the stands last time we hosted a women's nationals volleyball back in 2016, I think, and it was packed. It was the most electric environment, so I'm really hoping that the community and the fans come through, and I'm so excited. It's gonna be so much fun.
And what about you, Hayden?
Yeah, having this home court advantage is something that most of these athletes are never going to have again at the national level. This is their one chance to play in the biggest tournament in the country in their home gym. We have the advantage of playing on this court all year long. We've been able to practice on the national court for the last few days now, and these other teams aren't going to be able to do that. Our fans have showed up when we needed them most. We had a big match against Mount Allison kind of early, well, not early in the second semester, but when it finally restarted, it was one of the first few games of second semester, and I think I truly got to see what we were capable of from a fans and from a support standpoint, and I'm hoping that we get something even stronger for such a huge tournament for the program and such a big event for the school to put on.
Now, you mentioned about the wood itself. Is there any difference you guys have found in the past couple days from practicing on your normal court to this national floor?
Yeah, like the sport court is like 3x3 grids. They do shift
like
a
plastic
bit.
too.
Yeah. It's like I remember playing in nationals when I was like 16, and it was a little bit cheaper version of this. So like it does like make a noise when you step on it. It shifts a little bit, but as we keep practicing on it, we're getting more and more used to it. But it's shiny. It's really nice.
Which one do you prefer?
I don't know.
Hey, you're smiling here.
Yeah.
I prefer like the wood court, but yeah, like a freshly done wood court is probably a little bit nicer. But the sport court does look nice.
And Hayden?
As a former player, I would definitely have loved the normal wood floor a little bit better. But at the national stage, you need to provide the best of the best, and from a looks wise and just overall appeal, sport court's the way to go. The middle set, the actual volleyball court, is made from a wood material sport court, so it's a little bit more realistic. On the outsides, it's that plastic that we're used to. But it's something to adjust to. But like I said earlier, we have gotten to practice with this all week. Teams will be rolling in on Wednesday evening, get 1 hour to practice on it on Thursday, and that's it. Then they'll have to be ready to go right in the match. So another advantage for us being the home team, and hopefully we can use it to our advantage.
You get double home court.
Exactly. Yeah,
you get the 100.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. So do you find like the reaction time is a little different, that the plastic / wood shifts under your feet? Like, do you find anything's different?
Yeah, it was like a little bit of adjustment. So like I do find I like moved a little bit differently as I adjusted, but as the first practice went through, you were moving more normally. We just needed to get enough reps like moving through and just testing it out. Just like it was just like playing on a court you'd never played on before, essentially. Like it was no different. So I like by the end of practice we were all very comfortable.
Yeah. Floor is floor.
So what? So what? After that hour, you felt a bit comfortable with it?
Yeah. It does make the gym brighter too, whereas it's so shiny. It makes like all the lights reflect off of it, so it's nice and bright.
So we won't spend all the episode on flooring and COVID.
Yeah. So you guys were perfect. Were you guys? I'm pretty sure you guys were perfect before the break happened for COVID, right?
We had the one loss to Dallas the second last weekend of the first semester.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So before the COVID break, you guys were cruising. How do you think the 2-month-long hiatus, we'll call it, of the COVID break affected you guys' team, or did it benefit you guys at all? Like, what do you guys feel like it did to you?
Well, we did have like a huge period. Like you already take a break in December for Christmas, so it's usually like 3 weeks off anyways. And then we were supposed to get back like December 28th or something, so we could do we were supposed to do like a tournament in Quebec, but then that got canceled, and then there was a lockdown, so that was another 2 weeks. So it was just a long break. So I think all it did was just like delay us like being more like of a unit. So it did take us like another like week to get back into it, but our first week back was like very high energy. You can tell that everyone missed each other, and then I think that really helped set the tone for the rest of the second half.
Mm-hmm. And for you, Hayden, as a coach, did you notice any drop off like in the team from having the break that they had because of this COVID pandemic?
I felt physically that first week back to practice was pretty tough on the girls' bodies. Taking that amount of time away from the game in the middle of your season is something that you don't really experience in non-COVID times, unless you're injured for some reason. But the full team being away from the gym, I think it took us a little bit to get back into our rhythm. But once we did, we had to be ready to go right away because we had some challenging matches to begin the second semester. And I think just knowing that those matches were coming really motivated us through those first couple weeks of practices, knowing that we had to be at our absolute best if we wanted to win.
So you guys obviously have had a great season, and we know that you guys are going to bring it your all. What do you guys expect before we let you go here? What do you guys like expect out of your team? Do you expect a gold medal? Do you expect a medal at all? Or are you guys just, like you said, trying to make noise and make people aware of the program at Holland College?
So my goal and what we've talked about as a team is that this year is not the year we're going to win it all. It's just not a realistic goal to set. I think our team has the capability to play in these meaningful matches. And when I talk about meaningful matches, I mean in these big quarterfinal matches, I think we have the capability to win these. I can see us beating Humber and being in a national semifinal, which would be massive for this program, and I think would really set us on the path we want to be. And once you're in a national semifinal, anything can happen, right? And I think I mentioned that about ACAAs, like everyone's earned the right to be here, so any wins are deserved. And I think to send off athletes like Sam to at the end of their volleyball career on such a big tournament that only lasts 3 days, but it's a ton of volleyball. You can, if If you lose that first day and you're trying to go for the backdoor bronze medal route, then you could be playing 4 matches in 3 days and 2 matches on that Sunday. So it's going to be a lot of strain on the body. But I think we've physically prepared for that in the gym, and we're mentally ready to go through the ups and downs of a national tournament.
And Sam, what's the goal?
Literally, like, our actually physiotherapists like inspired me by this. Like, early on in the second half was to leave your mark, and whether it's like I just want to do whatever I can for my team and just like do the best I can. I want to leave everything on that court and just be happy with how I played and just support my team in any way. Like, I want us to win, but as long as we're playing as a unit and we're giving it our all, I will be very happy.
Yeah, well, we wish you the best, and thanks again for coming on the show. Justin, why don't you tell the folks where they can find us?
Yes, so you can subscribe to us on YouTube, and like and subscribe, and you can like and follow along on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts, and Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we just started a new social media handle called Waterboyz_media, where we are going to try and cover more island sports that aren't being covered by anyone at this moment in time.
We'll be the TSN for PEI. So cue the music.